Okay, so max box squat. Today, that's an important video for TTP because those are one of the things that the result that we're going to find out today, you will use that result throughout the entire year that you will train with TTP. When you're going to be squatting, you are going to use percentage of your 1 rep max. The percentage will always change depending on where you're at in your program, and you will always use the percentage based on the number that we're going to find out today. So that's going to be very important that you do a very accurate test. Before you're going to do that max box squat, make sure that you also do the warm-up video as well. Learn it by heart and make sure that you really warmed up before you do your max squat. I don't want you to be injured on this. So for now, let's go over the rules. All right, so to get started, depending on the age of my athlete, I only recommend to do this exercise from 12 years old and above. 12 years old underneath, don't worry about the squat. I've got a whole different program for you guys. You guys are still too young to do squats, okay? Then the other thing is, if you from 12 to 15 years old, I would recommend you to do those squats with a licensed personal trainer, someone that can actually be around you, making sure your form is correct and spot you if needed, things like that. And then the other thing is that if you've never been in the gym before, I recommend you to have 2 months of experience at minimum for you to attempt to do a 1 max rep. Once your form is 100% dialed in, that's when you can actually do 1 rep max. So let's go a little bit over some squat form. The couple things that you need to think about when you do squat, the common mistake that a lot of people make is that when they squat, their knee passes their toe. And what I mean by that is that if I were to get my squat position over here, okay, if I were to bend my legs, you see my knee are passing my toes. That's a terrible form to have. A lot of people are kind of squat like that. I don't want that. What I want you to do is make sure that you put your butt back with a flat back and make sure that your knee stays in line with your toes. So it's going to look a little bit like this, where you're going to come down, you're going to put your butt back, you're going to go all the way down and all the way up. So you see the knees and the toes are always staying in line pretty much. So that's going to be the first step. The second step is make sure that the weight needs to be from your heel, not your toe. So in other words, once you're going to be at the bottom, you should be able to wiggle your toe. If you cannot wiggle your toe, that means that your weight is not placed properly. You really need to have your weight on your heel. You have to come to a point where you can just squat, perfect squat, flat back, and you're perfectly in control. Some people tend to put their feet open like that and then kind of squat like that. I would not recommend you to do that because you are a BMX racer. So you're going to be pedaling, your legs are going to be to a certain degree narrow and they're going to be very straight. So though a lot of people that squat heavy tend to spread out a little bit wider and tend to put their feet a little bit wide to have strong squat position, but since we are a BMX racer, what we're going to do is keep your feet more narrow to target those muscles and keep your feet straight, not so much angle like that. You're not going to lift as heavy in that way, but we're not here to break a world record here. We're only here to strengthen our legs so that we can transfer it on our bike later throughout the season. The other thing to think about also is the tempo. When you're going to do your squat throughout the entire year that you're going to be training at TTP, the tempo is 3 seconds negative and then 1 second up. Think about this way. So 1, 2, 3, and then up. That negative part, the part where your body is going down, is very important for you to make your squat efficient and make sure that you develop as much muscle tissue as possible. So 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and then you go up as fast as you can. When you're gonna have a lots of weight, you're not gonna go up very fast, obviously, but in your mind, you still have to try to go up as fast as you can to learn how to be a little bit explosive. Again, you're doing this to eventually being able to transfer that strength and put it on your bike. So it's not enough to just lift the weight. I want you to lift it as fast as you can. I hope that makes sense. Now, box squat. Why do I call it box squat? You're going to be squatting on a box. The box is going to be important because it's going to be a constant reminder for you to know how deep do you need to go on your squat. If I'm just squatting by myself, it's pretty easy to go pretty low and then go up. But I can guarantee you that when you're going to train at your 100% max, going deep by this much more or this much less make a huge difference. So like I said, the result that we're going to find today, you're going to reassess it again in either 6 months or a year, depending. So we need to make sure that you are going to train under the exact same conditions, so that in a year from now, it's going to be important that you go as deep as you were the previous year. In your mind, you're going to think you know how deep you need to go, but I promise you, when you are going to have 100% of your max weight on your shoulder, you're going to go down and you're going to get scared of it. You're not going to quite know, and you may make a decision to go up when you did not reach that perfect depth that we're looking for. So that's why you're going to be using your box. On the list of equipment that I recommend you to have before, not that I recommend you to have, but in a list of equipment that I need you to have to train with TTP, is that red box right here. The reason is because it's 10-inch, okay? So the way you're gonna go down, you need to at least be 90-degree minimum, so that will be the minimum, or completely on the floor. So anywhere from 90-degree to on the floor, that's where you need to be. This box is 10 inches, so that's why I recommend it. You're also going to be able to use it on a lot of other things on your TTP program, but that's why I recommended that box. Other than that, this one is 10 inches. I'm 6'1", so when I touch it, it gets me lower than 90, but not completely on the floor. So I'm still in that zone, which is perfect for me. My son is 11 years old. He's 4'8", and when you sit on a box, he's still a little bit lower than 90 degrees. So again, from 4'8" to 6 foot, that 10-inch box will work for you. It is not crucially important how deep you're going. What's going to be important is what you're using, is that it stay consistent for the whole year, so that we can track your progression. You're going to keep this box forever, and so every time you're going to do your squat, your max squat and your percentage, you're always going to have that guide with you, reminding you of how deep you need to go. Now, how you're going to be using this box is very important. That I don't want you to sit on the box. All I need you to do is go 3 seconds down, and soon as you feel that your pants are touching delicately the box, you're not going to put any weight on the box, right? You're not going to even put a pound. Soon as you feel it touch, that is your guide to say, okay, it's time for it to go up again. So it's going to look a little bit like this, where you're going to go down like that. You're going to squat. Soon as you touch, boom, up again. So I just delicately touch it. That's what you want to do. Don't go like this. Okay, you do not sit on it. You just delicately touch it, and then you go back up again. If this were to be a real set, I would unhook the bar from the rack, bring your feet 3 inches from the box. Make sure that your feet are not too wide and not open. And then you go down for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Touch the box and then go up. Alright? So that's going to be your set. You're going to follow the proper warm-up and you're going to start adding weight a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, all the way until you hit your max. Now that's going to be important to talk about something here. In order for you to hit your max is that it comes a point where you're going to have to fail. You're going to go to where you cannot stand up anymore. So there's a couple of ways to do it. Once is that you do it in a gym. Whatever gym you're going to choose, you're going to make sure that you have a rack, a squat rack it's called. On those squat rack, there's some railing on the side, and you're going to bring that railing to where when you're going to fail, you can just put the box down. So in other words, for your squat max, the railing should be pretty close to the same height as when you are in a down position. So right now, if I were to take a picture of where I'm at, my bars is right here, so the railing should be a little bit underneath the bar. So if I have the strength to go up, great. If I don't have the strength to go up, I can just leave the bar right here and I can just like walk right underneath. And the same thing that if I have the strength to go a little bit up and I fail, bring it down, boom, leave the bar there and walk on it. So that's how you're gonna fail your squat in the gym. If you use some sort of gym where, like a CrossFit style gym where you have the rubber plate, you're not going to have a squat rack. But what you're going to do is you'll be able to throw the bar on the floor. That's what it's made for. I don't know if you've seen like Olympic lifter, they lift bars and then you just drop it, right? They're using like rubber plate, and they also have a rubber floor. So everything is meant for you to drop it. So if it's the case, you are not going to use a box like this. You're going to be using a wall ball. Every CrossFit gym has wall ball. So your guide, instead of being the box, you're going to be sitting on the wall ball, which is going to be about the same height as this. You're still going to pass your 90 degrees. So it's a good height for you to use from. And the reason why you want to use the wall ball is that when you're going to be at your CrossFit gym and you're going to have your bar, the way you're going to fail is by dropping the bar behind you. You're just going to walk forward and let it drop behind you. You're going to go like this, up, and let's say it's too heavy, just drop it behind you. Because you're going to be dropping the bar behind you, you cannot use the box, because then the weight's going to get on the box, it's going to be a disaster. But if it's a wall ball, you're going to be able to drop the bar and it's just going to fall right behind the wall ball, and that's going to be no problem for you. What I would recommend you to do is that when you're going to do your max squat, practice failing, because you're going to have to hit that point. And if you're not 100% comfortable with failing properly your squat, you're not going to be able to reach your max, because I'm telling you, once you're going to get close to your 95%, you're going to unhook the bar and you're going to get scared because it's going to be really heavy for you. And you're going to go down and you're going to think, okay, there's no way I can do this weight, and then you're just going to hook it. So in order for you to truly find what are you truly capable of, you're going to have to fail. And if you're very comfortable with failing, then you have nothing to lose. You're going to be properly warmed up, you're going to do your squat, you're going to go down. Even if you think you can't get up, you're just going to go down and you're going to give it all you got. Sometimes you might surprise yourself. You might find yourself lifted and then you can put that record on the bank and it's yours. We're going to be able to document it. So congratulations, you lifted. And vice versa, if you cannot lift it, then it's not a problem because you are comfortable failing your squat. So if you're in the gym, you're just going to go down on your box. If it lifts, it lifts. If it doesn't, just keep it right there and walk underneath. If you're in a CrossFit gym, you're going to go down, and you can't do it, you're just going to leave the bar right behind you, and so that way you're set. on my scorecard, I'm going to have you do this test twice, because it's really, really important that we find that number. So we're going to find your max. You're going to get comfortable with all this. You're going to find your max, and whatever that number is, you're going to rest a couple days, and we're going to revisit the gym again, and we're going to try to beat that numbers. If you can beat it, great. If not, then that means that it was truly your max. Because that's going to be really important, because as I explained earlier, throughout the entire year, we are going to calculate percentage of how much weight you should use based on your 1 rep max that we're finding today. So if you did not give it a true effort, that means that once you're going to be training at 5 rep at 85%, 6 rep at 83.5%, 3 reps at 90%, and so on and so on, when you're going to calculate your percentage, if what we find today is not 100% accurate or your very best, that means that the entire season your weight are going to be too low. Or vice versa, if you cheat yourself and you putting way too much weight, the next thing you know, your percentage are way too high, and that's not going to be good for your nervous system, and you're going to start getting overtrained, and there's a whole lot of other problems. So again, this is going to be very important that you give me your 1 rep max, and that it's 100% accurate from what you are capable of doing. I hope that makes sense. So as you notice, you have bar, you've got mark over here, okay? Make sure you place your finger there. This will prevent you from not being center of the bar. A lot of time you could just set yourself up like this. So you have to be very centered. So place your finger on that mark, go right underneath, so that way you know you're perfectly centered.